As noted in a previous video, this 11th grade season introduced the format of having an hour block of new shows, with the first half hour being based at Bayside, and the next half hour taking place in a completely different location. This proved odd for two reasons. First, watching an airing order reveals Kelly breaking up with Zack, but then a completely unrelated episode after. The aftermath of the breakup aired a week later, with another unrelated episode right after. Second, those unrelated episodes were part of the 6 summer work episodes that should have aired at the end of the season, which is how I'm choosing to review them. Once the Malibu Sands episodes were done, parts 1 and 2 of the Eric Tramer saga aired back to back, so we finally get some sense here, but then the Palm Springs Weekend 2-parter? Separate them! And the Home for Christmas 2-parter?
You gotta keep them separated.
Because we are saving the summer episodes for the end of the season, this is our first episode that is fully independent of Mr. Belding and the Bayside campus. And what better place to feature our 90s teens than the mall? Lisa is decked out in yet another green ensemble, and Kelly, well, I think for this episode I'm going to keep my Kelly thoughts to myself. Welcome to an age where you had to buy concert tickets in person, and the only convenience fee was a poor night's sleep. If you can believe it, the gang entrusted their money to Screech to buy U2 tickets, and he hasn't lost it yet. And because no one can wait 30 seconds for their tickets, they leave Screech to his task.
U2 tickets are now on sale, cash only.
I'd like 5 seats as close as you've got. And when I say close, I want to see Noah's hairs.
Before we see two idiots force the plot, let's take a quick peek at the box office. We've got a poster of The Who from 1966, a poster of the Rolling Stones from 1965, and a flag with colors from Australian punkers The Lime Spiders EP from 1989. With U2 being the subject for this scene, I thought it odd that we didn't get one of their posters featured. I mean, it's not like we don't have one we could use just chilling over in the Zack Morris bedroom set. Okay, back to our two idiots.
I'd like 5 seats as close as you've got.
So Screech has clearly asked for the closest seats. The closest! And this a-hole asks,
I have tickets in mezzanine or orchestra. What'll it be?
traditionally in a theater venue, the orchestra section is closer to the stage, and the mezzanine is farther and elevated. So which seats do you think Screech would prefer, man? To take this further than we should, because you know I love my effing tangents, there was a new U2 tour in the works when this episode dropped. All in the Mall aired on November 9th, 1991, and U2's album Achtung Baby, I have no idea how to pronounce that, would be released on November 19th. In conjunction with the album, U2 announced the Zoo TV World Tour starting on February 25th in 1992. Los Angeles had 2 stops on that tour, so the gang buying tickets made sense even in the real world. But where would the April 12th and 13th shows take place? The Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. Here is some footage from that show. It doesn't really seem like there are seats per se. Maybe the friendly neighborhood ticketing agent should have offered floor, pit, or general admission tickets versus the venue's riser, loge, or concourse tickets. But no, this guy is bad at his job, and he confuses Screech, who leaves the line to ask his buddies which wrong tickets would be best. The gaffe here is that Screech had a dude save a spot in line, but that guy didn't speak English. Oh, Screech, you've done it again. Even dumber is this exchange.
Why can't we meet girls like that, huh?
Yeah, great figure, doesn't talk back.
Yes. I remember having these exact types of conversations about the ideal sexy mall mannequins with my teenage friends. Get on out of here! I know the purpose was to point out this window dressing for a future scene, but this dialogue is terrible. Screech gets back in line and the guys eventually meet up with Kelly.
Where's Lisa?
She's at the shoe store flirting with the salesman. He's taking Polaroids of her feet.
What? That smacks of Proto-WikiFeet. As I said in an earlier video, when we realized that Kelly had a thing for guys who cosplay as Lawrence of Arabia, I'm not into kink shaming. But sexy feet is something I don't get. And because I have to Google all this crap, I found out that WikiFeet has merch. Who's gonna buy merch for something so niche? Lisa arrives and immediately finds a bag full of money.
Sounds like 5,000.
After some blatantly weak attempts to find the owner of the money, this windfall gets the gears in Zack's head going.
We take the money and buy as many tickets as we can. Then we turn around and sell those puppies for a big profit.
They keep the profit and then return the money. Free money is fun! Except Frankie and Louie might have other ideas. Coming into this next scene, we could almost be fooled into thinking that the crew just walks right into the shot. But Slater's purple shirt kind of hovers here for a second, so we know they were off camera waiting for their cue. Screech is still pretty far back, so we resort to elementary school rules about lines where if you step out for any reason, you are out forever. Screech was sneaky and cut into the line, but something seems off about this. Let's see. Mario Lopez's sister Marisa was always standing in front of this giant. And then there's this guy who often plays in the background at Bayside. But where did Green Coat go? Well, if you blink, you'll miss her, but she's there. And then there's Pink Shirt Guy. But what about this dude? Up to this point, the line checks out and Screech is cut in, but we go missing Ball Cap. Blue Shirt ditches his lady and jumps ahead in line. His lady stays there and we lose this blonde mom. And then we have this green shirt dude standing right behind these nerdy girls. But then Stripe Shirt dude cuts in later? I'm kind of glad you succumbed to this siren song of a waffle cone, you mulletous freak. After the nerd girls get lured away, next in line should be Tiffany Amber Thiesen's brother Skylar. But he somehow skipped to the front of the line, leaving these two dudes and the blue shirt guy to get chivalried out of position. So if all these people were in front of Purple Shirt, where the farts did Granny come from? To make matters stupider in the enticement scenes, we see that Screech has somehow skipped ahead of Mr. Green Shirt, Blonde Mom is back, and Marisa Lopez and Tall Guy are nowhere to be seen. What's going on here?
Nobody cares!
I'm sure somebody cares. And because they simply can't wait to get to the window, Zack offers to buy Granny's spot.
What are you doing? It's our ticket money.
Hey, you're forgetting about our fine.
I mean, Kelly, could you start operating with a growth mindset for once? Granny here has never missed a U2 concert, but when offered money, she doesn't just switch places in line, she straight up leaves it. I guess $200 is worth more than seeing the Zoo TV tour. And I love how Zack and Kelly panic when an extra bill flies out of the bag. You can tell they both want to stay in their spots for the blocking, and that makes it slightly awkward, but a lot of fun in recovering that bill.
I can't believe the concert sold out.
Me neither! There's only like 8 people with a chance to purchase tickets. While the group mopes, I'll point out that Screech's paper is the same one used in the Rockumentary episode and clearly says Zack Attack on the front. But if the Rockumentary episode hasn't aired yet, Screech has a newspaper from the future. And if Rockumentary is supposed to be a dream, Screech has a futuristic newspaper that can't exist. Cool. And it should be noted that despite Kelly being super poor, she's still super pure in heart and wants to return the money. Thwarted by bread.
Attention mall shoppers. Due to the phenomenal sales of U2 concert tickets, Power Records announces a second concert has been added. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Which jives, as we know there were 2 shows in LA. They decide to spend the night as a group in the mall, but also to spend a little cash while they wait.
And I guess it'd be all right to look at some bathing suits. They're selling them for half off.
Oh, which half are you gonna buy?
Hey! They gave this same setup to Screech in an earlier episode.
I couldn't help myself. I got such great sales. All my clothes were half off.
Half off? I can't take this tension.
You know, I've always defended you, but you really are a bozo.
Is that Screechy and Kel Sheen coming off? Whilst distributing funds, the gang notes the dubious dudes, whose presence in this episode make as much sense as Screech's distraction. The duo also shows up later and scare the girls away from WikiFeet Eddie, so I suppose that proves they're really not all bad. Meeting up for a movie, this scene is pure filler. Nothing in these 3 minutes furthers the plot outside the bad guys showing up again. That said, this scene has a ton of fun stuff to note. First off, Screech.
Why you dress like that?
Because they wanted $300 for the little Bo Peep costume.
Two things here. Is Screech really saying that his first costume choice was a little Bo Peep outfit? Second thing.
Why are you wearing this costume?
See, that way when the bad guys come, they won't notice me.
So the weird kid who drew a lot of attention to himself is trying a reverse Clark Kent to not draw attention to himself? Same, ladies. Same. Screech is really earning some L's in this episode. So Screech's purchase was bad. How about Slater's?
Oh yeah, hey Screech, check out what I got.
On the Zack to the Future podcast, Mark Paul explained that Mario likely got this beat from In Living Color. I loved the funky fingers stuff. Now, the rest of this scene is basically just Zack and Slater doing some killer riffing on the movie. I guess it's a good thing there was so much dead air for them to operate in.
Oh, Jonathan, I love you.
Are you proposing to me, my precious flower?
Oh, yes, darling. You're the only man I ever loved.
It's juvenile, but it at least serves up some ample fodder for these Zack and Slater shippers. And when Lisa gets fed up, listen to Zack's laugh.
Shut up and try to watch the movie.
The bad guys show up, and the plan this time is for the group to not be distracting as they escape. So they all leave the movie theater one by one, and what is more inconspicuous than whistling during a movie? Screech straight up addresses the guys. Kelly is the only one actually being quiet and exhibiting any sense. So the gang needs to sleep in the mall to get a first crack at U2 tickets, but they also need to hide. So Zack distracts and asks for balls from the back to get everyone hidden for the night. Thwarted by closing time. I should probably go without saying that teenage me would have loved being next to Kelly. But rapidly aging and uncomfortable on the ground me sees Screech's cushioning and...
And get rid of that stupid costume.
I freaking love Lisa. Apparently the sporting goods store opened before the ticket office because our crew is not locked in but first in line. The plan is working! And because tickets are limited to 10 per person, Zack orders 50 tickets at $3,000 or $60 a piece. Chump change. But remember how they put the money in Lisa's shoebox? It ain't there no more. So instead of someone staying in line and letting people go ahead, they all leave to look for the money. And it's difficult to make out who is in this line, but I will note that tall guy, purple shirt, and Bayside background guy are all back, which makes sense as none of them were part of the 8 successful ticket buyers. The crew goes back to the shoe store to check all the boxes. And this is how we know that Lisa likes money more than Eddie. She is clearly wearing the same clothes as the previous day, yet isn't embarrassed to be seen by Eddie. Eddie was clearly in it for the love/feet, as he somehow doesn't notice the same bright green outfit. And what the heck is this thing moving into the shot? Did the cameraman clip the edge of this other case? Well, the money isn't anywhere. But there's one box left that of course gets fought over by Granny U2 fan.
Look, there's Kevin Costner.
Where?
This old lady is a delight. And if you don't think so, well, I guess that's what the comment section is for. As Granny for Costner wanders deeper into the shoe store, we see that, yes, the money was in a shoebox containing the same shoes Lisa pulled out earlier. I often rag on production for missing things, but I'll credit them here for paying attention to detail. The goons show up and our group makes the improbablest of escapes. Zack shows off his mad basketball vert skills while also being sure to pay for the damage they did. With nowhere else to go, like behind this counter or back in this tent or, I don't know, out of the mall completely, They rush into the clothing store to hide in the circular racks of clothes like bored children in Dillard's. What's that? They hide in plain sight as mannequins? That really doesn't make sense. What would make sense now would be this conversation.
Why can't we meet girls like that, huh? Yeah, great figure.
Again, we have a scene that exists for no other reason than to drop comedy on us. The arguments are hollow, but the frozen vignettes are pure gold. Lisa choking priest Screech is delightful, so much so that she and Slater can hardly keep from breaking. And while the Screech exit is fantastically memorable, my favorite part is how Kelly yells at Lisa.
Lisa, why'd you have to be so nosy? Pick up that bag!
Why does she say it like that?
Lisa, why'd you have to be so nosy? Pick up that bag!
All in all, kudos to these kids for getting through this scene in possibly one take. Finally admitting they need help, the crew finds the mall security guard, and let me just say, dear viewer, that I hope you have someone in your life that looks at you the way this security guard looks at his donut. The security guard is not very helpful.
Oh, save us from those guys!
Why should I? I'm with them.
What? Oh, no, that's not good.
We're dead!
No, you're not dead because... boom? This has been a TV show all along.
You're on Candid Video!
So if this has been a candid camera, hidden video type of show, why were we shown extra content of Louie and Frankie being miffed about losing the money? Who were they acting that out for? And are you telling me that some TV executives were willing to exploit minors for a show, including having them lie to their parents and sleep together overnight? I guess that does kind of sound a little bit like Hollywood. It's really tempting to put this episode on blast. Like, our crew runs into the clothing store to hide, yet Louie and Frankie are right there by a wall of glass windows. They could totally see them. But at the end of the day, this episode does exactly what it sets out to do. It entertains. This is a fun show for kids with a wacky premise, and this episode capitalizes on all of that sentiment. However, there is one thing that I cannot, nay, will not excuse.
Candid Video is going to give you 5 front row tickets to the U2 concert.
The response here should be, we actually have a 6th friend who couldn't be here. Could we get an extra ticket for her? That should have been the response, because Jessie did not appear in this episode. We'll talk more about this when we cover Rockumentary, but Elizabeth Berkley hurt her knee and had to sit out some episodes. You can see her still rocking a Band-Aid at the beginning of the Malibu Sands shows. We can forgive the Candid Video crew for not knowing that Jessie existed, but what about Screech?
I'd like 5 seats as close as you've got.
Little buddy, the Pixies are one of the supporting acts. I'm sure Jessie would like to see that. Despite not appearing in the episode, Elizabeth Berkley was on hand to shoot a promo for syndication.
Bayside High? Hey, it's just a typical school.
With typical teachers.
And very normal students.
We're all really close.
Just like your school, huh?
That was a fun nostalgia hit. And if the backgrounds of the promo didn't scream all in the mall, then the clothes should have. And speaking of clothes, Kelly's wardrobe from this episode was so appealing that it was prominently used in a promo shoot, which got used for trading cards, the Uno game, and other things. Not that I freaking mind. And I know I didn't dwell on Zack offering his new phone for everyone to call their parents, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that he had upgraded to the new sexy Motorola MicroTac digital personal communicator. The salesman in the sports store was played by Tony Prince, a former Ice Capade skater turned actor. Beginning in season 2 of Dinosaurs, Tony played the mom, Fran, for 53 episodes. Tony seemed to have a great relationship with the Jim Henson Company, as he also appeared in the Country Bears, the Scrumps, and Good Morning Today. It seems like a pretty fun career. The security guard was played by Ken Fournier. The only other project I found for him was in Hot Under the Collar, which looks both amazing and appalling. Another guest with few other credits is Lillian Hightower Domio, who played our favorite U2 fan. Other stints were very small, like in the TV movie A Matter of Life and Death, Jack the Bear, or the TV show True Colors. Lillian was awesome.
I never miss a U2 concert.
The dude who played the thug Louie is a pretty fascinating guy. Leonard Crofoot was in a wheelchair early in life, got better, and became a dancer. He shared the stage with major stars like Carol Burnett, our own Dr. Mertz in Avery Schreiber, and Dolly Parton. He's had a few character roles like Data's child in Star Trek The Next Generation and Mr. Whimpers in Ant Farm, but he's primarily been a dancer, lending his services to movies and TV shows. His bread and butter has been a one-man show portraying the life of prolific dancer Vaslav Nijinsky. As for the other thug, Frankie was played by Mike Michaud. Mike has had an interesting career in Hollywood. Early on, he starred in Ricky 1, a Rocky parody. I'm gonna take the advice of his character, Ricky Wanero.
Come on, don't be negative.
Perfect. I ain't gonna say nothing about this movie. He had some bit roles here and there, like being a patron in the Soup Nazi line in Seinfeld, but nothing really stuck. One role of consequence for our purposes was in Burke's Law, where he shared an episode with Elizabeth Berkley. He played a stage manager, and she played a Miss America contestant, but just like All in the Mall, they didn't have a scene together. Fun fact, this episode featured Denise Richards, an eventual A.C. Slater interest. It also featured the actor who played the zombie from Screech and Lisa's Date.
Are you sure Matt Dillon's not in this movie?
Yes, Alan Thicke is the zombie. Everybody knows that.
There was also the lovely Jennifer Aniston. Mike turned to writing and currently directs for Sequoia Productions, a video content creation company for big Hollywood events. This was a fun episode. For the next one, we're back to Bayside.
Oh, just shopping. It's a mall, you know, right? So I hope to kill you two first.